You are standing at the entrance to something older than sound. The trench stretches away behind you, zigzagging into the dusk. But here, at this timber frame, the war changes shape. Above you, sandbags lean into one another like old friends. Corrugated iron catches the last gray light. A heavy blanket hangs across the opening, dark wool soaked with something that makes it stiff and cold to touch. You can smell it from here, that chemical weight, the gas curtain that marks the threshold between two worlds. Beyond it, stairs drop away into the earth. 20 steps, maybe 30, maybe more. The wood is worn smooth in the center, where thousands of boots have passed. You can see the first few treads, pale timber against darker shadow, and then nothing but the suggestion of depth. You choose to go down. Your hand finds the frame. The timber is cool and slightly damp. The surface is rough where rain has weathered it, but the corners are still sharp. Your fingers trace the edge. You can feel splinters waiting to catch skin, but you move carefully. You push the blanket aside. The fabric is heavy, soaked with something astringent. Lime solution, maybe, or creosote. The blanket swings on its rope, thick hemp worn smooth by countless hands. The rope creaks as the blanket moves. The smell that releases is sharp and chemical and damp. Lime and wet canvas and something metallic underneath. The air changes immediately. Cooler, stiller, denser. The sounds of the trench, the distant crackle of rifle fire, the voices calling to one another, the rattle of tin and wire and equipment. All of it begins to soften as you take the first step. Your boot finds the tread. The wood gives slightly under your weight. A small creak, a compression and release. But it holds. It has held for months, maybe a year. It will hold now. You descend. Each step is a small erasure. The surface world lifts away from you. The gray sky, the mud walls of the trench, the open air, all of it rises and fades with each step down. Your second boot finds the second step. The tread is slightly narrower than the first, then the third, the fourth. The stairway is steep, maybe 45 degrees. You steady yourself with one hand on the timber wall. The wall is a frame structure, vertical posts every meter or so with horizontal bracing between. The wood is rough but dry here, protected from the weather by the earth around it. The sound of your breathing fills the narrow space. It echoes softly off the chalk walls. 4 steps. 5. The light from above is dimming now, just a pale gray suggestion at your back. 6 steps. 7. You can feel the change in temperature, the way the air grows softer, denser, more constant. 8 steps. 9. The acoustics shift. When you swallow, the sound stays close to your ears instead of dissipating into open air. 10 steps. The surface is gone now. You are between two places, suspended in the descent. The earth rises on both sides of you, held back by timber frames every meter. The frames are proper carpentry work, not rough field construction. Someone who knew timber built these stairs. The wood smells faintly of resin and creosote, the protective treatment that keeps it from rotting in the damp earth. 11 steps. 12. You can see a glow below now, warm and steady, the color of honey. 13 steps. 14. Your hand trails along the wall, feeling the joints where vertical posts meet horizontal braces. The joints are mortise and tenon, locked tight. Everything is fitted close and secure. 15 steps. 16. The temperature is settling into something constant, neither warm nor cold, but stable and unchanging. The kind of temperature that simply is, that exists without variation, that asks nothing of your body. 17 steps. 18. Your feet find their rhythm now. Step, step, step. The glow is closer now. You can see the shape of a doorway, another timber frame, and beyond it, a room carved from chalk. 19. Steps. 20. 21. 22. The stairs continue deeper than you expected. 23. 24. You are well below the frost line now, well below the zone where temperature fluctuates with the seasons. 25. 26. 27. The stairs turn slightly, following the natural contour of the chalk. 28. 29. 30. The stairs end. Your boots find level ground. Duckboards. You are 8 meters below the surface, perhaps 9. The earth between you and the sky is thick beyond measuring. Chalk and soil and clay in layers. You can feel its presence, not as pressure, but as density surrounding you, holding the space open with its own ancient mass. You step into the dugout. The room is maybe 4 meters wide, maybe 5 meters long. The dimensions are not perfectly regular. This space was carved by hand, following the easier layers of chalk, avoiding the harder bands. The ceiling is low timber, braced and solid. You could touch it if you reached up. The beams are oak, maybe 20 centimeters thick, running parallel across the room. Between the beams are shorter cross braces. The whole structure is designed to resist compression, to distribute the weight of earth above across multiple load-bearing points. The walls are pale chalk, almost white in the candlelight, but dulled with dust and smoke and time. The chalk is porous. You can see tiny holes covering the surface, remnants of ancient shells. The chalk breathes. Air moves through it slowly, invisibly. When sound hits these walls, the walls drink it down. The porous surface absorbs high frequencies, leaving only low tones. Everything here is softer than it should be. A man sits at a small table, writing a letter. The table is made from an ammunition crate turned on its side. The man leans close to the paper, his face maybe 30 centimeters from the page. The light is dim. His hand moves slowly, forming words one letter at a time. He does not look up. Another man leans against the far wall, smoking a pipe. His eyes are half closed. The pipe stem is clenched between his teeth. Smoke rises in a thin stream from the bowl. A third man is arranging something on a shelf, moving slowly, without urgency. His hands are deliberate and careful. No one speaks. The room hums with a silence that is not empty, but full, packed with the presence of earth and wood and breath and smoke and candlelight. A candle burns on the table. The flame barely moves. The air here is so still that fire forgets how to dance. It simply glows, a small warm core of light that pushes shadows into the corners. The flame is yellow at the base, fading to orange at the tip. A thin trail of smoke rises straight up. The shadows the candle creates are soft. They do not have edges. They fade and pool and gather like water in low places. Another candle sits in a holder made from a spent brass shell casing. The casing is from an artillery shell, maybe an 18-pounder. The base is stamped with markings you cannot read from here. The brass is tarnished green and brown. Someone has driven a nail through the primer hole and mounted the casing to a timber post. A candle stub sits inside, held upright by its own melted wax. The flame flickers slightly, catching a draft you cannot feel. A third candle sits on a shelf cut directly into the chalk wall. The shelf is deep, maybe 30 centimeters, carved with a flat chisel or entrenching tool. The surface is rough but level. The candle sits in a dish, a tin lid from a large container. The flame reflects off the tin, doubling its light. The light from these 3 candles is enough. It does not try to illuminate everything. It suggests shape and warmth, and that is sufficient. Your eyes adjust. You can see the whole room now. The bunks along one wall, the stove in the corner, the shelves, the table, the men. Everything is visible in the soft yellow glow. You notice a telephone wire running along the ceiling timber. Wire is black, cloth covered, about 5 millimeters thick. It is pinned to the oak beam every half meter with small metal staples. The staples are U-shaped, driven deep into the wood. The wire runs the length of the room, taut and straight. It enters through a hole drilled in the chalk near one corner and exits through another hole in the opposite wall. The wire connects this dugout to a network, to other dugouts, to company headquarters, to the world beyond this room. But the telephone itself is silent now. You see it mounted on the wall near the entrance, a black metal box with a crank handle on the side. The receiver hangs on a hook. The wire from the box runs up to join the main line on the beam. But no one is talking. The wire simply rests there, part of the infrastructure, waiting. You can hear water, a steady drip. Somewhere in the room, water is falling into something metal. You listen. You locate the sound with your ears. The rhythm is perfect. Drip. You count. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Drip. The interval never varies. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. It does not speed or slow. It simply continues, a small clock made of water and tin and gravity and time. You follow the sound with your ears, then with your eyes. There, in the corner, a tin cup hanging from a nail driven into a vertical timber post. The post is part of the framing. The nail is maybe 8 centimeters long, bent slightly at the tip from the weight of the cup. The cup is standard military issue, pressed tin, maybe 10 centimeters tall. The rim is slightly bent. The handle is a simple wire loop. Above the cup, you can see the source of the drip. A timber beam runs across the ceiling. The beam is oak, dark with age and smoke. In the beam is a knot, a place where a branch once grew. The knot is maybe 3 centimeters across, darker than the surrounding wood. Around the knot, the grain swirls like water around a stone. The knot is loose. There is a gap, a small space between the knot and the surrounding wood. Water finds this gap. Water seeps through the chalk above, through the soil, through the layers, finding cracks and fissures, following gravity. The water reaches the timber. The timber is treated with creosote, water-resistant, but not waterproof. The water finds the gap around the knot. It beads there. It gathers. When enough water accumulates, a drop forms. The drop swells. The drop reaches a critical mass. The drop falls. The drop falls, maybe 1.5 meters. It falls straight down, pulled by gravity. It hits the bottom of the tin cup. The cup is half full. The water already in the cup is still. The drop hits the surface. The impact creates a small splash, a tiny crown of water that rises and collapses. The sound is clear and distinct. A single note. The note rings for a fraction of a second and fades. The water settles. The cup holds 30, maybe 40 drops before someone will empty it. But that time is not yet. For now, the drip continues. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. You move further into the room. Your boots make almost no sound on the duckboards. The boards are rough-sawn pine, maybe 3 meters long, 15 centimeters wide. They are laid side by side across the chalk floor, creating a raised walking surface that keeps feet dry. The boards are weathered gray. Some have splits along the grain. Some are stained dark with mud and water. But they are functional. They do their job. The man at the table looks up briefly. His eyes are bloodshot and tired. He nods. A small movement of his head, an acknowledgement. Then he looks back down at his letter. His hand moves again. The pencil scratches across the paper. You see his tongue between his teeth, the concentration of forming words. You do not interrupt. You see the letter paper. It is thin, maybe 8 centimeters by 12 centimeters, pale gray. The paper is field stationery, issued by the military. There is a printed border. Around the edge, a thin black line. At the top, there is space for the date and the address. The man has filled these in already. His handwriting is small and cramped, trying to fit as many words as possible on the limited space. The pencil he uses is short, maybe 6 centimeters long, worn down to a stub. The wood casing is dark with handling. The graphite tip is sharp. He must have sharpened it recently with a knife. The graphite makes a soft scratching sound as it moves across the paper. Scratch, scratch, pause, scratch. The paper absorbs the graphite. The line darkens as the carbon embeds in the fibers. You can see what he has written, though you do not read the words. It is not your letter, but you can see the shape of the text. The lines are straight. The spacing is even. He is taking care with this. The letter will travel. It will go by runner to battalion headquarters, then by truck to the railway, then by train across France, then by ship across the Channel, then by train and truck and postman to a house somewhere in England or Scotland or Wales. And someone will read these words. Someone will know that on this day, at this hour, in this dugout beneath the earth, this man was alive and writing. The man with the pipe exhales a thin stream of smoke. The smoke is blue-gray in the candlelight. It rises straight up, a vertical column, until it hits the timber ceiling. Then the smoke spreads. It flattens against the wood. It disperses slowly, creating a layer. The layer hangs maybe 30 centimeters below the ceiling, a soft haze. The smoke mixes with the smoke from previous pipes, previous cigarettes, previous hours. The ventilation pulls some of it away, but not all. The layer persists. The smell of tobacco mixes with the other smells. Damp wood, wet wool, the faint lime tang of disinfectant, the ghost of tea, the mineral smell of chalk dust, the chemical smell of creosote from the timber, old smoke, human sweat, the layered smell of many men living in a small space. But the smell is not unpleasant. It is familiar. It is the smell of shelter, of enclosure, of a place that has been inhabited and maintained and cared for. You begin to remove your coat. The coat is heavy. The wool is damp from the trench, from the mist, from the spray of mud when shells land nearby. The coat weighs maybe 4 kilograms when dry. Now it weighs more. Water is heavy. You lift your arms and peel the coat from your shoulders. The fabric pulls at your shirt underneath. You work the coat down your arms. The wool is scratchy against your wrists. The coat comes free. You hold it in both hands. The weight is significant. You have been carrying this weight for hours. Now you can set it down. You look for a place to hang it. There, on the wall, wooden pegs driven into the chalk. The pegs are simple, just branches cut to length, maybe 15 centimeters long, stripped of bark, the ends whittled to points. The points are driven into the chalk. The chalk is soft, enough that the pegs go in with a mallet. Once in, they hold. The pegs angle slightly upward, maybe 10 degrees, so things hung on them will not slide off. You hang your coat on an empty peg. The coat is heavy enough that the peg bends slightly under the weight, but the peg holds. Your coat joins 3 others already hanging there. All of them are dark wool. All of them are shapeless masses of fabric in the dim light. Above the pegs, someone has scratched initials into the chalk with a nail or a knife. The letters are crude but clear. J.M. R.T. A.B. Each set of initials marks a peg, a claim. This is someone's spot. Now it is yours, too. You do not add your initials. You simply hang your coat and move on. Your hands go to your boots. You sit on a low bench. The bench is just a plank, rough sawn pine, maybe 25 centimeters wide, supported at each end by ammunition crates. The crates are wooden, maybe 40 centimeters on each side, built from thin slats nailed together. Crates are stamped with black letters. SAA, Small Arms Ammunition. The crates are empty now. They have been repurposed as furniture. The plank rests on top of the crates. The whole thing is rough but stable. You sit. Your weight compresses slightly into the wood. You lean forward. Your hands find your right boot. The boot is leather, brown, now stained almost black with mud and water and use. The leather is stiff. The boot comes up to mid-calf. The laces run through 8 pairs of eyelets, brass loops set into the leather. The laces are brown waxed cotton, maybe 4 millimeters thick. You begin to unlace. Your fingers are cold. The laces are damp and stiff. You pull the bow at the top. The knot loosens. You begin to work the laces free, one eyelet at a time. The brass eyelets are tarnished green with verdigris. The laces slide through with resistance. The dried mud has glued the laces to the leather. You pull harder. The lace comes free of the top eyelet with a small snapping sound. Then the second eyelet. Then the third. Your fingers work methodically. 4th eyelet. 5th. You are not in a hurry. There is nowhere to be. There is nothing waiting for you except rest. 6th eyelet. 7th. The boot is loosening now. You can feel the pressure around your ankle release. 8th eyelet. The final lace pulls free. You grasp the heel of the boot with one hand. You pull. The boot is stuck. Your foot is swollen from hours of standing. The leather is tight. You pull harder. The boot resists. Then suddenly it gives. The boot slides off. Your foot emerges. You feel immediate relief. Your foot is still inside a wool sock. The sock is damp, but your foot is free of the stiff leather. You flex your toes. The sensation is strange after so many hours of confinement. Your toes spread. The joints crack softly. You wiggle your foot. The freedom is profound. You set the right boot on the floor. You turn to the left boot. The same process. Grasp the laces. Pull the bow. Work. The lace is free. 1 eyelid. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. Grasp the heel. Pull. The boot slides off. Your left foot is free. You flex those toes. You rotate your ankle. The relief spreads up your calf. You look around for a place to put the boots. There, near the wall, a section of duckboards set aside for drying. 5 other pairs of boots are already there, arranged in a rough line. You stand. You carry your boots to the drying area. You place them carefully, toes pointing toward the chalk wall. The boots will dry slowly in the steady air of the dugout. The leather will stiffen as it dries, but that is normal. Tomorrow you will treat the leather with grease. For now, they rest. Your feet feel light. You return to the bench. You sit. Your feet rest on the duckboards in wet wool socks. The socks are thick, government issue, gray-green. The wool is scratchy but warm. Water has wicked up from your boots into the socks. The socks are damp to mid-calf, but they will dry. The air in the dugout is not humid. The chalk absorbs moisture. The ventilation brings dry air from above. Slowly, over the next hour, your socks will release their water. The wool will dry. Your feet will warm. The man with the pipe taps it against his palm. The ashes fall into a tin. The tin is a meat tin, empty, used now as an ashtray. The ashes pile in the bottom, gray and soft. He sets the pipe aside. The pipe is briar wood, dark brown, the bowl worn smooth with use. The stem is black vulcanite, slightly bent. He reaches into a pocket and pulls out a tobacco pouch. The pouch is leather, worn soft. He opens it. Inside is loose tobacco, dark strands mixed with lighter ones. The tobacco smells sweet and earthy. He takes a pinch. He packs it into the bowl of the pipe. His thumb tamps it down. He takes another pinch. He packs it again. The tobacco is firm but not too tight. Air must flow through for the pipe to draw properly. He reaches for a candle. He tilts a thin sliver of wood, taper, into the flame. The wood catches. He lifts the burning taper to his pipe. He holds it over the bowl. He draws on the stem. The tobacco glows. The glow spreads across the surface of the tobacco. Smoke rises. He draws again. The glow brightens. The tobacco catches fully. He exhales. Smoke emerges from his mouth and nose. He shakes out the taper. The small flame dies. He sets the charred taper aside. He settles back against the wall. He draws on the pipe slowly. The tobacco glows with each draw. Smoke rises. The smell of burning tobacco fills his corner of the room. You find a tin mug on a shelf. The shelf is cut directly into the chalk wall. The cut is horizontal, maybe 30 centimeters deep, running the length of the wall. The surface of the shelf is rough, showing the marks of the tool that carved it. On the shelf sit several objects arranged with care. Tin mugs, 5 of them. A tin of condensed milk, The tin has 2 holes punched in the top, one for pouring, one to let air in. A small jar, glass, maybe 8 centimeters tall, with a metal lid. Inside is something dark. Jam, perhaps, or marmalade. A spoon. Just one. Communal. A stub of candle. A box of matches. You take a mug. The metal is cold in your hand. The mug is dented. The rim is bent slightly oval from being dropped or knocked. The interior is stained brown with layers of tea tannin. The stain is permanent. The mug will never be clean again. But it is functional. It holds liquid. That is what matters. You look for tea. There, on a small stove in the corner. The stove is improvised. Someone has taken a square biscuit tin, maybe 20 centimeters on each side, and modified it. They cut a door in the front. They cut a hole in the top. Through the hole, they fitted a pipe. The pipe is sheet metal, rolled and riveted. The pipe goes up and disappears through the ceiling, venting smoke to the surface. Inside the stove, coals glow. The coals are small and dull orange. A kettle sits on top of the stove. The kettle is blackened with use. The bottom is encrusted with carbon. You reach out and touch the kettle with the back of your hand. Still warm. The metal radiates heat. You wrap your hand around the wire handle. The handle is warm but not too hot to hold. You lift the kettle. The weight tells you it is half full, maybe 3/4 full. You pour. The tea emerges, dark brown, almost black. The liquid steams slightly in the cool air. The tea pours in a smooth arc into your mug. The sound is pleasant, liquid meeting metal. The mug fills halfway. You set the kettle back on the stove. You lift the mug to your nose. The steam rises. The smell is strong. Black tea. Tannin. Metal. A hint of smoke from the stove. A faint sweetness that might be condensed milk from an earlier brew. You sip. The tea is hot. Not scalding, but hot enough to warm your mouth. The taste is bitter and strong. The metal of the mug adds a metallic tang. But the warmth is good. The warmth spreads from your mouth down your throat into your chest. You can feel the heat radiating outward. Your chest warms. Your stomach warms. You sip again. You return to the bench. You sit. You hold the mug in both hands. The warmth moves into your palms, into your fingers. Your fingers have been cold for hours. Now they warm. The warmth is more than physical. The warmth is comfort. The warmth is care. The simple act of making tea and drinking it is a form of civilization, a small victory over cold and wet and discomfort. You sit, and you sip, and you let the day drain out of you. Your shoulders begin to drop. The tension you did not know you were carrying begins to release. Your jaw loosens. You have been clenching your teeth. You have been holding your body ready for action for hours, maybe days. But now you can release. Now you can let your body soften. The drip continues. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. The rhythm is so steady it becomes part of the silence, part of the background, texture of the room. Your breathing slows to match it. You are not trying to match it. It simply happens. Your body finds the rhythm. 3 seconds in. Hold. 3 seconds out. The air fills your lungs and empties and fills again. The air is good. The air is enough. The air is steady and clean and sufficient. You notice the ventilation. In the corner, near the ceiling, a canvas hose disappears into a hole bored through the chalk. The hole is maybe 20 centimeters across, circular, drilled with an auger or cut by hand. The edges of the hole are smooth. The hose fits snugly. The hose is maybe 15 centimeters in diameter, canvas stiffened with some kind of treatment, wax, perhaps, or tar. The canvas is gray-brown. You can see the weave, the threads crossing at right angles. Inside the canvas, wire hoops are sewn at intervals to keep the hose from collapsing. The hoops are steel wire, maybe 3 millimeters thick, bent into circles and stitched into the fabric. The hose has been patched. You can see squares of newer canvas sewn over tears. The patches are different colors: brown, tan, gray. Each patch tells a story of repair, of maintenance, of something breaking and being fixed. The hose works. Air flows through it. You can see this by watching a candle flame. The flame near the hose opening bends slightly, pulled by the current. Air is entering the room. Fresh air. Air from the surface. You stand and walk to the hose. You place your hand near the opening. You can feel it. Cool air touching your palm. A small stream of air, invisible but present. A breeze that never stops. You move your hand closer. The current is steady. The air smells different here. Cleaner. It carries the faint memory of rain, of grass, of mud, of the world above. But the memory is faint. The air has traveled 9 meters through canvas. It has been filtered by the journey. The sharp edges are gone. The air is soft and neutral by the time it reaches you. You think about the source. Somewhere above, somewhere 9 meters above, the hose opens to the surface. Somewhere near that opening, a man sits at a mechanism, a hand-crank fan. The fan is simple, blades mounted on a shaft, a handle to turn. The man turns the handle. The blades spin. The blades push air into the hose. The air travels down through 9 meters of canvas hose, through the chalk, arriving here in this room. The man turning the handle is doing his duty. He is keeping the air moving. He is keeping the dugout supplied with breath. Without him, the air would go stale. Without him, the candles would dim. Without him, sleep would be difficult. But he is there. He is turning the handle. The air arrives. The system works. You return to the bench. You sit. You sip your tea. The warmth has spread through your torso. Your core is warm now. Your hands are warm. Your chest is warm. Your stomach is warm. The cold that was in your center is gone. You hear something from above. Not from the surface, from the earth between. A low vibration. Not a sound exactly. More a feeling in your chest, in your bones. The earth transmits it. The vibration travels through the chalk, through the timber, through the duckboards under your feet. It is there for maybe 2 seconds. Then it is gone. The candles do not flicker. The man at the table does not pause in his writing. The man with the pipe continues smoking. No one reacts. The vibration is familiar. It is the surface speaking. It is the war happening 9 meters above. But the earth absorbs it. The chalk filters it. By the time it reaches you, it is abstract. It is a tremor, nothing more. A reminder that the surface exists. But the surface is far away. You think about the chalk above you. 9 meters. 9 meters of stone. The chalk is sedimentary. It was formed at the bottom of a warm sea maybe 80 million years ago. Tiny organisms died. Their shells accumulated, layer upon layer upon layer. Over millions of years, the layers compressed. Shells became chalk. The chalk rose as the sea drained. The chalk became land. For millions of years, the chalk existed as hills and valleys and cliffs. Then men came. Then war came. Then men dug into the chalk. They found it soft enough to carve with picks and shovels. They found it strong enough to hold its shape. They carved rooms. They carved stairs. They carved a network of safety beneath the dangerous surface. Now the chalk that was once at the bottom of a sea is a shelter from artillery and machine guns and gas. You finish your tea. The mug is empty. A few tea leaves cling to the bottom, dark and wet. You stand. You walk to a basin near the stove. The basin is enamel, white with blue speckles. The rim is chipped in several places, showing the black metal underneath. The basin sits on a wooden crate. Inside the basin is water. Cold water. Clear. You pour a small amount of water into your empty mug. You swirl it around. The water picks up the remaining tea leaves. The leaves swirl and float. You pour the water into a bucket that sits beneath the basin. The bucket is tin, maybe 20 liters. It is half full of dirty water. Someone will carry the bucket outside eventually, dump the water into a drain or a sump, bring the bucket back. For now, the bucket receives the dirty water. You set your mug upside down on a cloth beside the basin. The cloth is gray, stained, used for drying hands and mugs and whatever else needs drying. Your mug will dry. In an hour, it will be ready for the next person. The next man who comes down the stairs, who removes his coat and boots, who wants tea. The mug is communal. Everything here is communal. The space, the air, the warmth, the mugs, the tea. Everything is shared. A man enters from a deeper chamber. You had not noticed the doorway before. It is set in the far wall, a timber frame maybe 1.5 meters tall, less than 1 meter wide. The top of the frame is low. A person must duck to pass through. The man ducks. He emerges into the main room. He is carrying a wooden crate. The crate is maybe 40 centimeters on each side, made from thin pine slats nailed together. The wood is pale. The crate has rope handles on 2 sides, thick hemp rope threaded through holes and knotted. The man carries the crate to the floor near the stove. He sets it down carefully. The crate is heavy. You can tell by the way he moves. He kneels beside the crate. His knees press into the duckboards. He begins to pry at the lid. The lid is nailed shut. He works a knife under the edge. The knife is a jackknife, folded open. The blade may be 8 centimeters long. He works the blade under the lid. He levers it up. The nails groan. The wood creaks. One nail pulls free, then another. The lid comes loose on one side. He moves to the other side. He works the knife under again. More groaning, more creaking. The nails pull free. The lid comes off. He sets it aside. Inside the crate are tins, food tins, military rations. The tins are all similar in size, but different in label. The man begins to remove them, one by one. He lifts each tin and examines it in the candlelight. The labels are printed paper glued to the metal. Some labels are bright and clean. Some are faded and stained. Some are torn. He begins to sort. Corned beef. He lifts a tin. The label is red with black letters. Corned beef. The tin is heavy, maybe half a kilogram. He sets it aside. He lifts another. Same label. Another. Another. 6 tins of corned beef. He arranges them in a row on the bottom shelf cut into the chalk wall. Labels facing forward. Orderly. Jam. He lifts a tin. The label has a picture. A strawberry. Impossibly red and bright. The strawberry seems absurd in this dim, underground room. But it is comforting, too. A reminder that strawberries exist, that sweetness exists, that somewhere far from here there are fields and fruit and sun. He sets the jam tin on the middle shelf. He lifts another. Plum. The label shows a dark purple. Fruit. Another. Apricot. Orange. Another. Marmalade. Golden. 4 tins of jam. Condensed milk. He lifts a tin. The label is blue and white. The words say, condensed milk, sweetened. The tin is smaller than the meat tins, maybe 200 grams. He sets it on the shelf. 2 more tins, 3 total. Peas. He lifts a tin. The label is green with an illustration of pea pods. Processed peas. 2 tins. Biscuits. A square tin, larger than the others. The tin is maybe 20 centimeters on each side, 10 centimeters tall. The lid is printed with an illustration of a ship. The ship is a steamship with 3 funnels. The ship is unrelated to biscuits. The tin has been repurposed. Inside are hard biscuits. Army biscuits, dense and dry and meant to last forever. He sets the biscuit tin on the top shelf. When he finishes, he steps back. He looks at his work. The shelves are organized. Everything has a place. The food is visible. The food is accounted for. There is enough for several days. A week, maybe, if rationed carefully. The system is clear. When a tin is needed, anyone can see where it is. When supplies run low, everyone will know. The organization is care. The organization is structure. The organization is the opposite of chaos. The man nods to himself, satisfied. He folds the crate flat. He pushes it under a bunk. He wipes his hands on his trousers. He pours himself tea from the kettle. He sits on an upturned crate. He drinks. His task is complete. You watch this entire process. You do not help. You do not speak. The routine is his. The routine is soothing to watch. Everything here is about order, about maintenance, about keeping things working. The surface is entropy. The surface is destruction. The dugout is preservation. Another man sits on a bunk. He has a small tin in his lap. You watch him open it. The tin is round, maybe 8 centimeters across, 4 centimeters tall. The lid is friction fit. He pries it off with his thumbnail. Inside is dubbin, waterproofing grease for leather. The grease is yellow-brown, thick and waxy. The smell reaches you even from across the room. Strong and animal. Tallow and neat's foot oil and beeswax. The smell of sheep and cattle. The man has his right boot in his other hand. He dips 2 fingers into the dubbin. He scoops a generous amount. He begins to rub it into the leather. His motion is circular, small circles covering every centimeter of the boot. He starts at the toe. The leather there is scuffed and dry. The dubbin darkens it immediately. The leather changes from brown to almost black as it absorbs the grease. He works the dubbin into every crease, every seam, every crack. The circular motion is hypnotic, around and around. The leather drinks the grease. The man's fingers move steadily. He is not in a hurry. This is meditation. This is care. He reaches the heel. He works the dubbin around the back, then up the sides, then around the top. He makes sure every part is covered. When the right boot is done, he sets it aside. He picks up the left boot. He dips his fingers into the dubbin again. He begins again. Toe, sides, heel, top. The same circular motion, the same patient coverage. Both boots sit beside him now, gleaming darkly in the candlelight. He wipes his fingers on a rag. The rag is already stiff with old grease. It is dark and waxy. He folds it and places it back in his pack. He sets the dubbin tin aside. He will let the boots sit overnight. By morning, the leather will have absorbed the grease completely. The boots will be supple. They will flex without cracking. They will resist water. The care he has given them will extend their life, maybe by weeks, maybe by months. Time passes. You do not know how much. There is no clock except the drip. The drip does not count minutes. It simply marks continuation. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. The rhythm is eternal. You move toward the bunks. The bunks line the far wall. They are 2 levels high. Frames are timber, probably pine, maybe 8 centimeters square. The frames are joined with mortise and tenon joints and secured with wooden pegs. No nails. The joints are tight. The frames do not wobble. Stretched across each frame is wire mesh. The mesh is woven in a diamond pattern. Each diamond is maybe 5 centimeters across. The wire is steel, maybe 2 millimeters thick. The wire is woven tight. The mesh sags slightly under the weight of wool blankets and sleeping bodies, but it holds. You choose an empty bunk on the lower level. You sit on the edge. The mesh gives beneath you, but holds firm. The frame creaks slightly. Wood on wood. The sound is soft. The bunk is solid. Someone built this with care. Someone who knew carpentry. Someone who wanted the bunk to last. Before you lie down, you look up. The timber beam directly above you draws your attention. The beam is oak. You can tell by the grain, by the color, by the weight implied by its thickness. The beam is maybe 20 centimeters thick, 30 centimeters wide. It runs the length of the room, supported at each end by vertical posts. The beam is the main structural element. The beam carries the weight of the earth above, distributes it to the posts, to the foundation, to the chalk beneath. The wood is dark. Age and smoke and creosote treatment have turned it nearly black, but the grain is still visible. You follow the grain with your eyes. Long lines run the length of the beam, parallel rivers of wood fiber. The lines are not straight. They waver slightly, following the growth pattern of the tree when it was alive. Some lines are close together, dark bands where the tree grew slowly. Difficult years, cold or dry, the tree adding growth reluctantly. Some lines are far apart, light bands where the tree grew fast, good years, warm and wet, the tree adding centimeters of new wood each season. You can read the history of the tree in these lines. 20 years, 30 years, maybe 40. The tree stood in a forest somewhere in England. Oak trees grow slowly. This tree might have been 100 years old when it was cut. A century of growth. A century of seasons, spring leaves, summer shade, autumn acorns, winter bare branches. The tree survived storms and droughts and frosts. The tree grew. Then the tree was selected. Then the tree was cut. Then the trunk was hauled to a sawmill. Then the trunk was shaped into beams. Then the beams were treated with creosote to resist rot. Then the beams were brought here. Then the beams were installed in this dugout. Then the beams became shelter. There are knots in the beam. You can see 3 from where you sit. Knots are places where branches once emerged. When a tree grows, branches grow from the trunk. The branches add their own wood. The trunk adds wood around the branch. When the tree is cut and the branch is removed, a knot remains. The knot is where branch wood meets trunk wood. The grain swirls around the knot like water around a stone. The first knot you see is maybe 4 centimeters across, circular, dark. The knot is hard and dense. Knots are harder than the surrounding wood because the grain is compressed and interwoven. This knot is tight. It does not move. The second knot is smaller, maybe 2 centimeters. Also tight, also dark. The third knot is different, maybe 3 centimeters across, dark but loose. There is a small gap between the knot and the surrounding wood. The gap is maybe 1 millimeter wide. You can see it has a dark line circling the knot. This is where the drip comes from. Water finds this gap. Water seeps through the chalk above, through the soil, through the layers. Water follows cracks and fissures and porous channels. The water reaches the timber. The timber is treated with creosote. The treatment makes the wood resistant to water, but not impermeable. Water finds the weakest point. The gap around this loose knot is the weakest point. Water enters the gap. Water accumulates. When enough water gathers, it beads on the underside of the beam. The bead grows. The bead reaches critical mass. The bead falls. Drip. You lie back. Your head rests on a folded coat. The coat is wool, heavy, folded into a rough rectangle. The wool is scratchy against your cheek and ear, but the coat is soft enough to serve as a pillow. You adjust your head slightly. You find a position where the folds are comfortable. Your skull presses into the wool. The wool compresses and supports. You reach for a blanket. The blanket is folded at the foot of the bunk. The wool is coarse and heavy. You pull the blanket over yourself. The weight is immediate. Maybe 2 kilograms, maybe 3. The blanket covers you from chest to feet. The weight presses down gently, evenly. The weight is comforting. The weight is like being held. You look at the blanket more closely. Even in the dim candlelight, you can see detail. The weave is loose, not finely woven like cloth for clothing, but coarse like cloth for durability. You can see individual fibers. The fibers are kinked and curled. This is wool. Wool from a sheep. Wool that still carries the shape it had when it grew on the animal's back. The wool is gray-brown. This is undyed wool, the natural color of fleece. Different sheep produce different shades. This wool might be from Cheviot sheep, or Scottish blackface, or some other hardy breed. The wool is not clean. There are bits of vegetation caught in the weave, tiny fragments of straw, or hay, or grass from the sheep's pasture. The fragments are dried and brittle. The blanket has not been washed, or if it has, the washing did not remove everything. The blanket still smells faintly of lanolin. Lanolin is the natural grease that sheep produce in their skin and coat. The grease waterproofs the fleece. The grease protects the sheep from rain and cold. When wool is processed, some lanolin remains. The lanolin gives the wool its characteristic smell. Slightly animal, slightly oily, slightly sweet. Smell is ancient and honest. The smell is the smell of the source. You run your hand over the blanket. The surface is rough. The fibers prickle your palm. But the roughness is not unpleasant. The roughness is real. The roughness is proof that this blanket is functional, not decorative. This blanket has a job. The job is warmth. The job is weight. The job is comfort. The blanket does its job. You close your eyes. The sounds of the room surround you. Layer upon layer of quiet sound. The drip. Always the drip. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. 3 seconds. Drip. The baseline rhythm. The crackle of coals in the stove. A soft popping as pockets of trapped gas ignite. The scratch of pencil on paper. Someone is still writing. The scratch is rhythmic and irregular. Scratch, scratch, pause. Scratch, 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 pause. The sound of thought becoming words, becoming marks on paper. Someone is playing cards. You hear the whisper of paper sliding against paper, the shuffle. The cards are old. The edges are soft. The corners are rounded. The backs are red but faded to pink. Probably playing cards issued by the military. Standard deck. 52 cards plus jokers. The player deals. 1 pile. 2 piles. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. The pattern is familiar. Patience. Solitaire. A game of order against chaos. He turns cards face up, one at a time, looking for patterns, looking for matching suits and sequences. The slap of card on wood is rhythmic. Slap. Pause. Slap. Slap. Pause. He is not keeping score. He is not competing against anyone. He is simply moving cards, following rules, occupying his hands and his mind with something small and manageable. The game is meditation. The game is structure. The game is predictable in an unpredictable world. You hear someone shift in a bunk above you or beside you. The wire mesh creaks. The creak is musical, a high note and a low note together. The mesh adjusts under the weight. The person settles. The creaking stops. You hear breathing. Multiple people breathing, each at their own rate. The breathing creates a soft symphony. You listen for the patterns. One person breathes fast and shallow, 8 breaths in maybe 20 seconds. Their breathing is high in their chest. Their body is still alert, still awake, still holding some tension. Another person breathes slow and deep, 4 breaths in 20 seconds. Their breathing is low in their belly. Their body has let go. They are asleep or very close. Their breathing is smooth and unconscious. A third person breathes at a medium pace, 6 breaths in 20 seconds. They are drifting. They are in between waking and sleeping. Their breathing is slowing. Each cycle takes a little longer than the one before. You listen to these 3 rhythms overlapping. Sometimes they align. 3 exhalations happening at once. Three bodies releasing breath together. The synchronization is accidental, but feels intentional. Then the rhythms drift apart. The fast breath pulls ahead, slow breath falls behind. Then they drift back together again. The breathing is a small orchestra, an orchestra of life, of lungs and air and shared space. Your own breathing begins to slow. You are not forcing it. It simply happens. Your body recognizes safety. Your body recognizes that vigilance is not required. Your breath deepens. 7 seconds in, 7 seconds out. The rhythm settles. You are joining the symphony. Your breath is becoming part of the shared breathing, the shared air, the communal life of this room. The man at the table has finished his letter. You hear the sound of paper being folded, a crisp sound, dry paper creasing. He folds it once, then again, then a third time, a trifold. The letter is now small enough to fit into an envelope. You hear him set it down. You hear the small sound of something being placed on top of it. A weight, probably a stone, keeping the folded letter from unfolding. You hear the man stand. His boots scrape on the duckboards. You hear him stretch. His joints pop. Neck, shoulders, elbows. The small pops and cracks of a body that has been sitting still for too long. You hear him roll his shoulders. You hear him sigh, a long exhale. The sigh is not sadness. The sigh is completion. His task is done. His letter is written. His thoughts are recorded. His duty to the people far away is fulfilled. Now he can rest. You hear him walk to his bunk. His footsteps are soft but audible. The duckboards creak slightly under his weight. You hear him sit on the edge of a bunk. You hear the mesh creak. You hear him lean forward. You hear the sound of laces being pulled. He is unlacing his boots. The sound is familiar. The same sound you made earlier. Laces through eyelets. The soft scrape and pull. He works in silence. First one boot, then the other. You hear the boots set down. The soft thump of leather on wood. You hear the man swing his legs up onto the bunk. The mesh creaks and sings. You hear him adjust, finding his position. You hear the rustle of wool, a blanket being pulled up. Then stillness, then breathing. Within 2 minutes, maybe less, his breathing deepens. He has joined the symphony. Another sleeper, another body at rest in the shelter of earth. The drip changes pitch. Someone has walked to the corner. You did not hear the footsteps. You were too absorbed in your own awareness. But you hear the cup being lifted from the nail. The nail releases the cup with a small metallic sound. You hear water pouring. A splash and gurgle as water leaves the cup and enters the bucket below. The water pours for maybe 2 seconds, then stops. You hear the cup being wiped. A thumb or finger sliding around the inside rim, removing the last drops. You hear the cup being placed back on the nail. The nail enters the wire loop handle. The cup settles. The weight pulls down slightly. The nail bends a fraction. Then everything is still. The first drip hits empty metal. The sound is different, higher, brighter. The empty cup is a drum. The drop hits the metal bottom directly. The sound is pure and clear. A single note. Ping. 3 seconds. Ping. 3 seconds. Ping. The cup will fill again over the next hour. The pitch will drop as the cup fills. The sound will deepen. The note will become muffled. Then someone will empty it again. The cycle continues. The cycle never ends. You become aware of your feet. They are warmer now. The wool socks have released most of their moisture. The fibers have dried in the steady air. Your toes are comfortable. You flex them. The movement is small, just a curl and release. But the sensation is pleasant. Your feet have carried you so far, through kilometers of trench, through mud and water, upstairs and downstairs, over duckboards and through wire. But now they rest. Now they are dry and warm and still. Your legs are heavy. Your calves are dense and relaxed. The muscles are soft. The muscles have stopped working. Your knees are loose. No tension there. No holding. Your thighs are warm under the blanket. The wool traps your body heat. The warmth accumulates. Your legs sink into the mesh. The mesh holds them. All the way up to your hips, everything is released and heavy and still. Your hips settle deeper into the bunk. Your pelvis rocks slightly forward. Your lower back finds a comfortable position. The curve of your lumbar spine flattens slightly. This is good. This is rest. The muscles that hold your spine upright can release. The erector spinae muscles, the multifidus muscles, the deep muscles that brace your core. They can stop working now. They can soften. The mesh supports you. The blanket covers you. The earth holds the space. Your muscles do not need to hold anything. Your stomach is quiet. You ate something today. You do not remember what. Probably bully beef from a tin. Probably biscuits. Probably tea with condensed milk. But your stomach is content. The food has been broken down. The nutrients have been absorbed. Your digestive system is working quietly in the background. The peristalsis continues. The smooth muscles of your intestines pulse and contract, moving everything along. But you do not feel this. You only feel a soft fullness, a quiet satisfaction. Your chest rises and falls, slow and steady. Each breath takes longer now. 8 seconds in, 9 seconds out. The exhale is longer than the inhale. This is the sign of rest. The parasympathetic nervous system is in control now, the system that governs recovery and digestion and sleep. Your body is in rest mode. Your body is repairing itself. Cells are being rebuilt. Tissues are being restored. The body does this work automatically while you rest. Your heart beats in your chest, slow and deep. You can feel it if you focus. A soft pulse, maybe 50 beats per minute, maybe 48. Your heart is strong. Your heart is efficient. Each beat pushes blood through your entire body, to your brain, to your lungs, to your liver and kidneys, to your arms and legs, to your fingers and toes. The circulation continues without your help. The system is automatic. Your heart knows what to do. Your shoulders are completely soft. The tension between your shoulder blades has dissolved. The trapezius muscles are loose. The levator scapulae muscles are loose. The rhomboids are loose. All the muscles that pull your shoulders up, that brace your neck, that hold your arms, all of them have released. Your shoulders rest on the mesh. The mesh supports them. Your shoulders are simply bones and relaxed muscle, doing nothing, being held. Your arms lie along your sides, or perhaps they rest on your chest. It does not matter where they are. They are heavy and still. Your biceps are soft. Your triceps are soft. Your forearms are loose. Your wrists are open. All the way down to your fingertips, everything is relaxed. Your hands are not gripping. Your hands are not making fists. Your hands are simply hands, resting, doing nothing. Your neck is soft. The sternocleidomastoid muscles that run from behind your ears to your collarbones are loose. The scalene muscles are loose. All the muscles that turn your head and tilt your head and support your head have released. Your neck is simply connecting your head to your body. A bridge. A soft, flexible bridge. Your head rests on the folded coat. The wool compresses under the weight of your skull. The wool shapes itself to your head. The support is perfect. Your jaw is loose. Your teeth are separated. There is space between your upper and lower teeth. Your masseter muscles are soft. Your temporalis muscles are soft. The muscles that clench your jaw have released. Your jaw hangs slightly open. Your tongue rests in your mouth, soft and still. The tip of your tongue rests against the back of your lower teeth. Your lips are barely touching. Air moves through your nose, slow and quiet and steady. Your face is completely relaxed. Your forehead is smooth, no furrows, no tension. The skin lies soft on the bone. Your eyebrows are loose. Your eyelids are closed, not squeezed shut, just gently closed, soft and heavy. The lids rest together, covering your eyes, protecting them, allowing them to rest in darkness. Behind your closed lids, your eyes are still. They are not moving. They are not tracking anything. They are simply resting in their sockets, suspended in the safety of your skull. The room is dimming. One candle has burned down completely. The flame has drowned in its own wax. The light in that corner has gone dark. But there are other candles. 2 more still burn. The light is softer now, more golden. The shadows are deeper. But the room is not dark. Not yet. There is still enough light to see shapes, to see the outline of bunks, to see the form of men sleeping or resting or sitting quietly, to see the glow of the stove, to see the pale chalk walls. The sounds are blending together. The drip, the breathing, the creak of timber, the soft sounds of cloth moving as someone shifts in their sleep. All of it merges into a single tone, a low hum. The hum of existence, the hum of life continuing quietly underground. The hum is not loud. The hum is barely audible. But the hum is there. The hum is the sound of safety, the sound of shared space, the sound of the dugout breathing. You are very deep now, not just 9 meters below the surface, deeper than that. You are deep in yourself. You are in the place where consciousness begins to fade, where the boundaries blur, where you are not quite you anymore. You are becoming part of the room, part of the earth, part of the stillness. Your breath is part of the air. Your heartbeat is part of the earth's slow pulse. The edges between you and the dugout are dissolving. The drip is very faint now. You can barely hear it, but you know it is still there, somewhere, still falling, still marking time. Drip, still there. Drip, still continuing. Drip. The darkness is almost complete. One candle still burns. The flame is small, a tiny point of warm light. But it is enough. The light suggests presence. The light is a small anchor. But the darkness is welcome. The darkness is soft and deep. The darkness asks nothing. The darkness holds everything. Your breath is barely a whisper. In, out. In, out. The air barely moves. Your chest barely rises. But the movement is enough. Your body takes what it needs. Your body releases what it does not need. The exchange is perfect. The system works. You are sinking. Deeper. Deeper still. The sounds are fading. The awareness is fading. The world is fading. You are falling into the soft, dark place where sleep lives, where everything dissolves, where there is only rest. The earth holds you. The chalk holds you. The timber holds you. The mesh holds you. The wool holds you. The darkness holds you. Everything is holding you. You are held completely. You are safe completely. You are home.